Hi all, thanks for joining me for lesson 3, and this is personal responsibility, and that is stepping out of victimhood and into creatorship. So this is, I just want to talk about, I want to go back and again, using me as the quintessential example. So victimhood, victim mentality, because we need to speak about this before we can go into personal responsibility. So, all of my life, through childhood, teenage years, and my 20s, I felt like a victim. Okay, I was bullied because when I was younger, because I was neglected, I was scruffy, I wasn't taken care of. I was bullied, I was humiliated in the workplace. I had really detrimental relationships, abusive relationships, and I was on like this self-destructive downward spiral pattern. I had an alcohol problem, alcohol issues, and I just didn't understand what was going on, why it was going on, how I got dealt such what I perceived to be a difficult hand in life. And it wasn't really until I began looking into spirituality and, heeding the call, that I began to change, and my focus and the way I perceive things really shifted into an elevated perspective, an elevated scope. So, what I want to say is there is an ace of spades, there is a leveling up in this game called life. You can move forward and see that you're not just a solo player in this game called life. You're not even a team player. You have an army of help from the higher realms and your guides, etc., and also your higher self, your own personal power. So I always felt like a victim, and it radiated off me. I'm a victim mentality. And what that then invites by the laws of the universe and law of attraction and frequency is I'm going to attract somebody who's going to treat me like a victim, So when I was able to work on that and evolve out of it, obviously things changed, but I want to offer you my perspective on, I'm a very big advocate of just personal responsibility is such a benefit to your life. Let's not play the blame game. I'll give you an example. There's somebody I know that went through an equally difficult childhood that I did, and all they do is blame their parents, they blame their siblings, they blame their community, they blame their friends, they blame other people, right? So yes, things may have happened to you, or for example me, or this person when we were younger, but it's our responsibility. Well, what we did was not our fault, but it's our responsibility to heal, to change that, to take back active control of our life. So if somebody is out there and they're blaming and they're, pointing the finger, where is the power in that? How can they change? What can they do with it? Where can they move? Not very far from what I can see. They'll stay stuck. But if you take ownership and take personal responsibility and say, okay, this happened to me, but I'm now going to take the active steps. You may have already taken some active steps about knowing yourself, contemplation, doing exercises, working on those negative self-beliefs, looking at yourself as a person and really wanting to now take ownership for your next steps in what you do, and if you've goals or if there's things you want for yourself for your future. So the power is in taking that responsibility. And also another thing I want to say about this is boundaries and being assertive. Because when you begin to shift and when you begin to change, and I've actually had to learn this the hard way, obviously again you're getting the benefit of my experience, was that people don't like to see you change. They want to keep you small. They want you to still play the role that you've played in their life. That's the benefit for them. You know, if you're a yes person and you always say yes and yes, and then when you need to take more time to work on yourself and you say no, then they'll put the blame on you, or they'll call you out, or they might get irritated with you, whatever it may be. Just recognize in those situations that that is their stuff, that is their conditions, that is their projections. You stay in your own personal power and be assertive, not aggressive. Be assertive and say, this is what I need to do. Well, this is my example, what I did for myself. I need to look after me. I'm busy. I can't do that. And if I feel like helping them in the future, I will. You know, I'm not completely closed off, but I will put my needs first, because if I go and I do whatever they want me to do, like I've always done, then I'll be resentful and I'll not be true to myself and I'll not be authentic. And they're not going to get a good version of me. They're going to get a snappy version of me. So when you treat yourself with respect, and you know, this is one of the ones that I want to go into shortly for a little bit, that I had to learn, was that, you know, I was a yes person. I was yes, 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 I'll do anything to please you, even if it's at the detriment to me and myself and my own worth, because that's what way I always was. So what I would like to say about that is, what I then changed and what I then did was, I was just doing everything for everybody and working everything out for everybody else, and I was exhausted and burnt out. And what I then began to do was, I realized and I recognized, you know, I can't put, you know, the age old saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to look after yourself and fill yourself up first, so then you can be the best version of you for other people. And I was just always on empty, always going from like being burnt out and doing things to please other people. Now, I recognize that I have worth. I have to look after myself as well, that I am also a child of the divine, not just pleasing everybody else. So this is where the real power comes. This is where everything cultivates. This is where your life begins to change and shift. And what I would just mildly caution you on is, it may ruffle feathers, people may be annoyed or upset or and all of these things, but I invite you to stand in your own personal power and do what's best for you, because the offshoot of that is you will be the best version of you moving forward in your life, for with other people, and then you make the best choices for yourself. So it's all about becoming a more actualized, rounded individual, instead of, you know, where people get stuck in, you can get stuck in people pleasing, addiction, all of these things. It's asking you now to move forward and move out of that space. So thank you all for listening so much, and I'll see you in the next lesson.